I honestly, as an adult, thought that I would never get to a point where I could achieve anything to completion. I would just always start projects and not finish them.
It ain't nothing to me. Young Tom Hardy with the movies, act out smoothly, Mickey for the goofies.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I am so glad to have you. Today I want to talk about hacks that will keep you accomplishing your goals, and I feel like I'm an expert on this, not because I've always accomplished my goals, but because it's been so hard for me to figure out what it takes to keep on track. And I'm still learning. I think I always will be, because I don't know, I'm just fighting some stuff. I'm fighting myself. I'm fighting ingrained thoughts that tell me that I can't do X, Y, or Z. So that's why I think that I'm the perfect person to talk about achieving goals, because honestly, if I can do it, anyone can do it. It's just the facts. A little background on myself. I am the kind of person who gets really excited, past tense. I am the kind of person who got really excited about an idea. I love everything. I love researching and coming up with plans for how to do certain things. So like day one is really exciting. I write down all of these notes. I figure out what it is I want to do, how to get there. Day two is also exciting, because I'm still riding high on motivation. Day three is less exciting. Day three, it's harder to get out of bed. I find myself easier to get distracted. And by day four, I have started going over the reasons in my mind why it won't work and why I was foolish to even think of doing that in the first place. As I said though, that was the old me. The new me has managed to keep a YouTube channel going for over a year. And I have a lot of other things going on. I've got kids, I've got a husband who's very needy, I'm in school, I have chronic pain, I live with depression. It's all kind of like enough for me to give up. But I really figured out some things that have helped keep me on track, and I want to share them with you, because once again, if your friend Sarah can do it, anyone can do it. The first thing that I suggest doing is to spend some time thinking about what your goal actually is. Envision it in your mind. See if you can picture yourself doing that for a long time. And if the answer is yes, I can see myself doing this for the next 5 years of my life or so, then it's time to reverse engineer your goals. The goal is here, but until you figure out practical steps to get to that goal, it'll just be kind of this fuzzy vision in your mind, and every day that vision will get more and more cloudy until you pretty much don't think it's possible, because you haven't made a plan. You have to have a plan. This is something everyone can do. Like on a smaller scale, for instance, you're throwing a party. You know that the end goal is the party, but then you have to think about what kind of food are you going to serve, what day, what time, who you're going to invite, invitation list, what will you wear to the party. So these are all like practical ways of accomplishing like a bigger goal. And until you do those things, you can't throw a good party. And that's how it is with any goal that you have. You have to think of the practical steps that lead up to that thing. Every goal that I can think of that's worth anything requires day-to-day slogging. It's not gonna always feel good. You're not gonna always want to do it. But during those times, if you have your plan, you're like, I'm just working the plan. I'm just gonna keep my head down and work the plan. So that's tip one. Tip two is to have an accountability partner. There is so much value in being able to discuss your dreams and goals with someone else, with the caveat that you cannot have someone who will tell you yes and not push you and tell you, oh, you're doing great, when you're not doing great. You have to have someone who will push you. When this happens, you will be able to talk about what it is that's going on day to day, what you're looking forward to doing, problems that you're having, and your accountability partner can be like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? And honestly, sometimes just talking out loud about what it is you're trying to do clarifies a lot of things in your mind. This one is simple, but it's super powerful, and I would not suggest skipping it. There is someone in your life, whether it's a friend, a partner, maybe you have a grown child. Children are really good for pushing back on you, by the way. Find someone who can give you that sounding board that you need to get to where you want to go. Tip 3 is to identify at least 3 things that you can do regularly that will keep you good. And by that, I mean mentally and physically in a really positive place. Some people call this self-care, but regardless of what you call it, there are certain things that nourish you and you need to identify them. And sometimes it takes a minute to figure it out. I always heard women talk about how they go to the spa and they get their nails done and that makes them feel really nourished. And I don't have money for that. And I always thought, well, I guess when I get to the point where I have money for those things, I will do them and then I'll feel good. But honestly, if you sit there and think about what it is that makes sense for you, we're all individual people. Different things feed us. And it was crazy when I sat down to actually think about what makes me feel good and what makes me energized. They're pretty basic things. They're things that I can do every week. One thing I do is read. I love to read. I read fiction. I read YA. I read middle grade books. I read nonfiction. I read poetry. Anything I can get my hands on, I read because it makes me feel good. It can be like 5 minutes, but I will read every day. Usually it's at bedtime. I'll have like 5 or 10 minutes to read. It happens every day. Another thing I do is I go to the gym, and while I'm lifting weights and stretching, I put music on. I used to watch people's videos while I was at the gym or listen to a book on tape or a podcast, but every time I put music on instead, I just felt like really pumped up and excited, and like a lot of the worry and processing just drained. And so I realized this is something that I need to implement regularly because it gives me so much energy for the rest of the day. A third thing that I do is ridiculous. I dance. It's no big deal. I was a classically trained ballerina. I danced professionally, but I can't keep a beat. Not if it's not ballet, but I still do it. It's super funny to watch, but it makes me feel good, and I feel like I get rid of so many bad vibes when I dance. Just turn on some really good music and just, do it. My things no doubt are different than your things, so just spend some time figuring out what it is that makes you happy and schedule it. If you have to write it on your calendar or put it into your phone, schedule things that will make you feel good and positive and ready to take on your day. The fourth tip is to find some key habits that you know keep you on track. So it is very easy. Past tense, it used to be very easy for me to get off track. I am not someone who likes to have habits. I like to be very spontaneous. I do not like any kind of structure, but I crave it. So something that I've done is to figure out some things that always keep me on track. I know that when I do these couple of things, my mind feels like I am productive and that I'm getting somewhere and that I'm a responsible adult. So one of the things is super simple. I get dressed every morning. I put on real pants and a real shirt. You might say to yourself, well, Sarah, everybody does that thing. No, not me. And I know other people like me. I used to go to bed in a t-shirt and yoga pants, and in the morning I would put on a bra and call it a day. And that's just gonna make you stay tired for the rest of the day. Instead, I get fully dressed, including socks and shoes. I wash my face. If I'm planning on putting on makeup, if I have time for that, that's what I'll do. I'll do something to my hair. Just this one little habit makes me feel like I'm set up for success, I guess. Another habit is I make the bed. Everyone talks about this, and it's just a little thing. So sometimes I would just, I'll just skip that. It doesn't really make a difference, but it makes a difference. I am really cold in the morning. I don't know why. And when my bed is unmade, all I want to do is, like, after I get the kids to school, come home, make breakfast, get in the bed, and then I'm like, well, I'll just sit here for a minute and eat my breakfast, and then I'll get up as soon as I'm done with breakfast. But everyone knows that's a lie. I don't do that. I get more and more comfortable. I burrow into the covers, pretty soon the day is gone. But if the bed is made, I don't want to get into it. It's just like a little mental check mark that I can make. This is done. I'm not going back there until nighttime. Another thing that works really well for me is to spend time each day working in my planner and then at night reviewing what I've done, because going to sleep knowing what's on tap for the next day just helps me wake up the next morning for whatever reason. I don't feel confused about what I'm supposed to do if I've thought about and looked at my planner the night before. When the alarm goes off, there's something in my brain that's like, oh, we have this, this, and this to do. And it just helps me to get up and get moving. These are things that I do every day. If I miss a day doing any of these things, it's so much harder for me to hurry through the things that I have to do so that I can be focused on the things that I want to do. I'll drag through all of my chores and then there's not any time for what I want to do. So I highly suggest this. The fifth and last tip is to have two mindsets. You have a creator mindset and you have an editor mindset. I learned this when I was writing. You cannot create and edit at the same time. You just can't do it. And well, you can do it, but it's not going to be good. When I write as fast as I can, following my thoughts. I don't stop to think, does this make sense? Or is this the right word? Or let me reread and see if that makes sense. No, I just write. And then I'll come another point in the day or the next day and I'll edit. I'll come at it from a critical state and I'll try to go through and see what doesn't make sense or what can be changed. And that's really worked for me with YouTube and other things in my life. When I work on YouTube, my creative mindset is thinking of video ideas. It's thinking of how to put videos together. Honestly, editing is very creative for me. So I try to do those things in blocks of time. And then other times I approach YouTube in a very editing style. So that's when I'm going to be answering comments. That's when I'm going to be watching other people's videos and thinking about what they're doing. And so I can leave like a thoughtful comment. That's when I look at my analytics. That's when I try to strategically see what I'm doing. Is it working? Is it not working? These 5 tips have really helped me. And I honestly, as an adult, thought that I would never get to a point where I could achieve anything to completion. I would just always start projects and not finish them. So I really feel like I've been empowered by doing these couple of things. I could talk about this all day long, but I just tried to narrow down 5 things that really work for me and that are super practical. So I hope that this helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments box below. If we're not friends, consider subscribing and give this video a like. I hope that you're having an awesome day and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.